As one of the most prominent law enforcement organizations in the world, the FBI has long been associated with discipline, toughness, and an unrelenting dedication to justice. However, for a large part of the organization's history, women were not allowed to take on one of its most esteemed positions, that of a special agent. Before 1972, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had a long-standing policy banning women from serving as FBI special agents. Because of his belief that women were not fit for the difficult and dangerous work of a special agent, they were denied the opportunity to work for the agency until his passing. As a result of his death in May 1972, the restriction was reconsidered, allowing women to become special agents in the FBI. Susan Rowley Malone, a U.S. Marine Corps officer, had been fascinated by the FBI since childhood. Growing up in a military family near Washington, she saw the world of law enforcement as a place where she could make a real difference. But when she first dreamed of joining the FBI, women were still excluded from the ranks. When Hoover passed away, the acting director of the FBI, Patrick Gray, saw an opportunity to open the doors to women. That year, for the first time in history, women were allowed to apply to become FBI special agents. Susan, determined to seize this opportunity, applied just 16 days after Hoover's death. She was accepted into training class that included 43 men and just 2 women, Susan Rowley Malone and Joanne Pierce Misko. After 10 years as a nun, Joanne joined the FBI's research division. When women were finally allowed to apply for agent positions, Joanne, encouraged by her colleagues, followed her calling to serve. At Quantico, both Susan and Joanne faced skepticism. Some of their male classmates called them the experiment, questioning whether they could withstand the rigorous training. But the 2 women were determined to prove themselves.
There were about 43, 45 people in my class, all men, except for Joanne and myself. And of course, we were known as the experiment. In some quarters, people said, oh, we have to take them, but they're not going to make it. And of course, I knew you'd have to kill me, but I wasn't going to quit.
Despite facing doubts and challenges, Susan and Joanne succeeded. They completed the physical and academic training side by side with their male peers and emerged as FBI agents. Their careers would inspire countless women to follow in their footsteps.
If there is something you want to do, you should pursue it. I was told that a woman cannot do a man's job. I'm here to prove them wrong.
The FBI was a male-dominated institution, and women agents were often marginalized, expecting to prove themselves more than their male counterparts. Their very presence in the Bureau challenged traditional gender roles, leading to both subtle and overt discrimination. But the story of women in the FBI doesn't end there. Dr. Ann Burgess, a pioneering forensic nurse, made significant contributions to the field of criminal profiling, helping to shape the FBI's understanding of criminal behavior, especially in cases of sexual violence. In the 1970s and 80s, Dr. Burgess coined the term rape trauma syndrome and helped the FBI understand the physiological trauma experienced by victims of sexual assault. Her groundbreaking research led to the development of criminal profiling as an investigative tool, which would later become a key aspect of the FBI's behavioral science unit. Through her work, Dr. Burgess not only influenced how the FBI investigated sexual crimes, but also helped to revolutionize the entire field of criminal psychology. Despite these women's groundbreaking work, all early women in the FBI faced isolation and prejudice. There was little support for women in the Bureau. Many were expected to prioritize their roles as wives and mothers over their careers, leading to difficult decisions about family and work-life balance. Women were often assigned to administrative roles and rarely given the opportunity to work in the field of investigations. This continued discrimination and lack of opportunity made it difficult for women to advance within the agency. But women like Susan, Joanne, and Anne persisted. They faced adversity but remained determined, breaking down the barriers that had long excluded women from the Bureau. Their work opened doors for generations of women that followed them, and over time, attitudes within the FBI began to shift. Today, women make up nearly 45% of the FBI workforce, including 28% of the supervisory roles and 34% of the executive ranks. The agency has made significant strides in gender equality, but this progress would not have been possible without the efforts of those like Susan Rowley Malone, Joanne Pierce Misko, and Ann Burgess. These women not only broke barriers for themselves, but also paved the way for others. Their perseverance and strength continue to inspire future generations of women who want to serve in law enforcement, proving that when given the chance, women can excel in even the most challenging and demanding roles.